Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all doing well as can be expected on planet Earth. Something is happening today on planet Earth at a place called Bletchley Park. Lots to talk about today because everybody is going to be at Bletchley Park for the next couple of days. And there's going to be a live discussion, I believe streamed on X, between Elon Musk and Rishi Sunak. Bletchley Park is in the United Kingdom. Right, let me explain first what Bletchley Park is. These days it's a museum, but at one point in the Second World War, not sure about the first, but it's very famous for the Second World War. It was part of GCHQ, Secret Services, UK Intelligence, and they were code breakers amongst many other things, and they had not the first computer in the world, but there's a very famous computer there called Colossus. And Colossus is huge. I mean, you can go and see this beast yourself. I don't know how much tickets are. I don't think they're very expensive. And there was a very, very famous guy there who worked there called Alan Turing, which I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of. Alan was a genius, a mathematician, and he and a team of others worked together to break the infamous Enigma machine which the Germans were using in the Second World War. Now, there are lots of things to know about Bletchley Park. For example, I'm now going to talk about the beloved daughter-in-law of our King Charles III. Isn't that interesting? And you just know there's going to be tantrums and kick-offs from Harry and Meghan about that one, don't you? My son, he said, my son asked my now beloved daughter-in-law to marry him here in Kenya. I believe the king said, oh God, yeah, you know, there's going to be jealousy supreme. Oh, speaking of which, when I say everyone's going to be at Bletchley Park today and tomorrow, that's not quite true. I don't think Meghan and Harry have been invited. And there is no mention at the moment of any member of the royal family attending. However, I'm wondering if the Prince and Princess of Wales may attend. I don't know, because Catherine, the Princess of Wales, has a connection to Bletchley Park, which I will read out to you. And I remember this, and I was so impressed because I never knew this about her. Right, Catherine, Princess of Wales, had her grandmother, I believe, worked at Bletchley Park as part of the code breaking team. She wasn't actually a code breaker. Let me get the facts right. The royal mum of three, 37, stepped out at Bletchley Park, the secret wartime spy base brought to life in the movie Enigma, starring Kate Winslet, where her paternal grandmother, Valerie Glassborough, and her twin sister Mary worked during World War II. Now, I'll get to the part of what exactly Catherine's grandmother did. Because all this work was being conducted in the Second World War in total secrecy. And what's happening today at Bletchley is going to affect all of us. All of us, believe me. It's maybe one of the most important things we should all be paying attention to today and making it our business to listen to the live tonight. I don't know if Rishi knows exactly what he's let himself in for. Catherine's relatives, the Glassborough twins, served in Bletchley's Hut 6 as duty officers in the cover management Y team that identified interception sites and signals that were suitable for monitoring. They would then pass the information on to code breakers. So that's Catherine's connection to it. And also, as we all know, Prince William spent several weeks at GCHQ with MI5, MI6 and all the intelligence services. I think it was back in 2019. And yes, I'm still waiting for that book to come that the Royal Grift recommended, all about the Secret Service and how they work with the royal family. And as soon as that turns up, you can believe it, that is going to be a big thing for me, and I'll be reading out chunks of that to you guys because it fascinates me. Now, what's happening today? Right, we've all been discussing this for some time now. People, celebrities, Instagrammers, possibly certain members of the royal family, political organisations, enemy states, for which I'm sure can buy bots relatively cheaply, possibly from the country Lesotho or other destinations, to falsify, exaggerate, magnify their popularity, their opinion, their political persuasions, and they can use this as a very dangerous tool to whip up hatred, spread bullshit across the internet. Because I don't like the words misinformation and disinformation. Let's just call it what it is, bullshit or horse shit. Now, there are things happening at Bletchley that I'm very happy about, and there are also things happening at Bletchley today and tomorrow which I'm not so sure about. There is one thing that Elon and I agree on. We both don't like legislation. More legislation, more legislation, more legislation. You know, it's just, what I think would be a good idea is a bit of deregulation. You know, we're all so bogged down in legislation. And Elon has said the same. However, where Elon and I agree is that AI needs regulation. Because at the moment, any old Tom, Dick, Harry or Yachty can go out and buy a load of followers and make out that they're really popular. And they can go through the world, and no names mentioned, spreading one death threat at a time until everyone agrees with me. So, let's see who's going. I've got the list here. Now, there's a lot, so I won't read the whole lot out because I think it will blow your mind. There are a list of academia and civil societies, the majority of which I've never heard of before in my life. I would, guessing on that list, there's about 50 of those organisations. Governments from the following countries will be attending: Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Ireland, Israel, Italy, Japan, Kenya, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Netherlands, New Zealand, Nigeria, Republic of Korea, Republic of the Philippines, Rwanda, Singapore, Spain, Switzerland, Turkey, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, and the United States of America. They have got a whole host of industry-related organisations, which I won't read out the entire list, but Amazon's going to be there, so I don't know if Jeff Bezos himself will be turning up, because this is obviously a very, very high-risk, high-security event. We know Elon Musk is just jetted into the UK for this. Google, don't know if they should be allowed in. I mean, they're big ones for censorship and stopping people's voices from being heard. What I think is most important is that us human beings are allowed to continue to talk. With free speech, which does not include defamation, death threats or harassment or bullying, but we should be allowed to talk and exchange ideas, whether we are correct, incorrect. That's down to us. We're human beings. AI is there to serve us. We are not here to serve AI. That's really important. We're the boss of them. They are not the boss of us. They have got all kinds, oh my God. Oh, NVIDIA's going. I thought they did computer games. OpenAI, Palatar, Rise Networks, Salesforce, Samsung's going to be there, Sony, Adept, Aleph Alpha, I don't know what that one is, Alibaba, Apollo Research. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Now, the big organisations that are all going to be there, and no, the Aspen Institute is not one of them. Neither is Bots Sentinel, Christopher Boozy or Spout Able. And I don't think Omid Scobie's been invited either. Oh, maybe it's a bunch of nobodies then without all that lot there. But the Council for Europe will be there. European Commission, Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence, International Telecommunication Union, Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, UNESCO, never heard of that, and the United Nations. Oh my God, Megsy's going to be having a fit, isn't she? Between Charles's speech last night and this, and all the billionaires in one room. Oh, and she wasn't invited. But this video is not about her. Now, I've got this off a UK government website before any sugars start saying I'm full of shit. Because one of them called me, what was it? A pathological liar. So I think that's got to be a bot, or a moron, because what part of when I say I might be full of shit, double check everything I say, I get things wrong, this is just my opinion, I'm thinking out of my imagination, what part of those English phrases that you guys and I understand does this moron or bot not understand? How can you be lying when you say this is just my opinion? How can you be lying when you say I may have got this wrong, I might be full of shit, double check it? How can you be lying under any of those statements, of which I always include in all of my videos? So how is that pathologically lying? Now, what they are going to address, and there is a report, and I will put a link in the description to this because it's horse's mouth from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and the Home Office, otherwise known as MI5, MI6 and GCHQ. You can read the report, you can see the attendees. Of course, they haven't been too specific because high-profile characters like Elon, etc., that there's a risk. They also list the organisations and they give a brief outline of what is going to be discussed. As I said before, some of the things I'm very happy about because they have recognised the fact that any old Tom, Dick and Harry or yacht whatnot can go out and buy bots and manipulate us, the public, the audience. The parts I'm not so keen on are where and this is the UK government, I think, refer to us as we're not as clever as we think at identifying misinformation. Wow, that's rather insulting, isn't it? Now, we might not all be experts, but the important thing about having free speech and being allowed to exchange ideas without threat from Google, Alphabet or YouTube to silence us because they don't like or share our opinions, or we say one little itty-bitty word. The importance of us being allowed to talk to each other and share ideas is so we develop as a society and so that we can question things. For example, I might say something, A, B and C, and some of you in the comments might say, actually, Fiona, you got that wrong. That's not the case. Blah, blah, blah. A classic example. Graham and I did a video where he was talking about the Nobel Peace Prize. And a lot of you pointed out that Nobel invented dynamite, but then he felt bad about it, and that's why he created the prize. That was something I didn't know. There are so many things I read in the comments. That is why I read all of your comments, because sometimes, yeah, a lot of you agree with me, but then sometimes people come forward and say, you've got that wrong. That's not right. And then I'll correct it in a future video. And it's called being allowed to talk to each other. I don't like to use the word conversation because so many words in the English language just make me feel sick now, thanks to certain people and the way they talk. I do believe regulation should be brought in. I don't believe that robots should be allowed to influence or sway elections. That to me is dishonest, it is fraud, they are not human beings, they do not have the right to vote, they are never going to vote. So what fucking right, what business have they got being on social media trying to influence us human beings? Absolutely no business whatsoever. So, I don't know exactly how the stream's going to work tonight, but if at all I can share it or live stream it myself from my ex, I will. And I would encourage all of you to share the shit out of this. And there is always a possibility that the Prince and Princess of Wales may make a surprise appearance because of Catherine's deep connections to Bletchley Park and also Prince William's interest in GCHQ. So watch this space and cover your ears for smashing dishes in Montecito. I look forward to hearing all your thoughts, opinions, free speech, long may it last, and thank you very much for listening.